What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I'm Just Curtis. I'm Curtis. Yeah, I've given up on trying to find a different intro, something that will be catchier, cooler. Nah, that's it. It flows, it works, it makes sense. With that being said, can I be truthful? Can I be honest with y'all? I mean, 3 episodes in, I feel like we've built a rapport, right? And the truth is, y'all, walking with God has been the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. The hardest thing. I don't care what you list of my history, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. Harder than joining the military, harder than going on deployment, harder than becoming a stay-at-home father, harder than being a stay-at-home father while my better half was on deployment, harder than anything I have ever done in my life. Walking with God takes the gold. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And the reason it's so difficult is because, as I said in a previous episode, it felt like when I called on God, all these things started going wrong in my life. All these things started happening negatively in my life. And I remember when it all started happening, I prayed. The first thing I did was I prayed to God and I said, God, I need you to show me what's going on because this ain't making no sense. I don't understand. And what I do believe is that God showed me the end from the beginning. He showed me what his overall plan was, how he plans to resolve this thing, or where he plans for me to end up when it is all said and done. So here I am going through this season, going through this storm, anticipating God to do something. But all around me, I see everything going opposite of what God said he was going to do. I remember I was watching this video on social media. I seen it twice, actually. It was a young woman who said it, and there was a young man who said pretty much the same thing. And the video basically went along the lines of, it's not that I don't believe God can do it. It's that I question if he will. And what creates that thought? What creates that line of questioning? Well, oftentimes when you are going through a particular season, you find yourself in community with people who are going through the exact same thing. Maybe not the exact same parameters, but very similar to what you're going through. And in certain instances, you will see those people finally come out of their storm, finally come out of their rough season, finally make their way out of the valley and on top of the hill. And you're sitting there like, yeah, all right, good for them. But what about me? What about me? What about my prayers? What about my petitions? What about my requests? Have I not done all you've asked? Have I not shown the things that you wanted to see? What about me? Hell, I even prayed for them. And I know they prayed for me, so what about me? The biggest thing that I've come to realize in my walk with Christ, sometimes God doesn't remove you from the situation because God is using the situation to remove certain things from you. I'm going to say that one more time. Sometimes God doesn't remove you from the situation because God is using the situation to remove certain things from you. See, when we choose to walk this walk with Christ, when we choose to align ourselves in the Spirit, we have to understand that we choose to accept a constant internal battle. The word tells us that the flesh and the spirit cannot coexist. They are always at war with each other. The person that God is calling you to be and the person that you are known to be are at war with each other because the two cannot coexist. You cannot call yourself a godly person, a kingdom man, a kingdom woman, a person of a person who beholds themselves to God. You cannot call yourself those things and continue to be an adulterer, and continue to be a liar, and continue to be a coveter, and continue to be any of those things that you were when you were not just in the world, but also of the world. You cannot come to the kingdom and still want to be a part of the world. You cannot be lukewarm. You have to definitively pick a side. And when you decide that you are going to walk with Christ, the other side is always doing everything it can to try to pull you back. That's the fight. That's the thing that makes this walk so hard, at least for me. Because I see the things that are happening around me. I see the people who are turning their backs on me. I see the people who have treated me like I don't have feelings, or I'm not going through what I'm going through. And everything in me wants to give them everything that they are accusing me of. Everything in me wants to respond in the exact manner that I am being treated. But that's my flesh talking. My spirit says, sit back, chill, hold up. It's gonna pan out just the way you want it to. I know it's hard. I know you're tired. I know you want to go. I know you want to make it happen. But hey, just chill. Let me handle this. It kind of reminds me of the parable of the fig tree. For those of you who haven't read it, I'm paraphrasing. Go back and find it for yourself. Read it. I'll put something somewhere that tells you where it's at. But anyway, the parable of the fig tree is basically a landowner has his gardener plant a fig tree. And after the period of time that the fig tree is supposed to bear fruit, the landowner comes to see if the fig tree has bore fruit, and it has not. He comes back over and over and over again. The fig tree is still bare of fruit. He gets to a point where he's like, hey man, I had enough of this. Cut this tree down, get it out of here. It's not doing what I put it here to do. The gardener says, whoa, hold on. Like, I get it. You ready to get rid of this tree, but I'm telling you, you let me do my thing. You let me cook. You let me make something happen with this. Give me a year. I promise you, this fig tree gonna bear some fruit. But if it don't, do your thing, big dog. Cut it down. I want you to understand that in that parable, you are the landowner. Jesus is the gardener. And the fig tree is the blessing that God told you he's going to give you that you've been struggling to wait on. The fig tree is the thing that you've been praying to God over and over again, wishing and hoping and just begging God to make something happen with. That's what the fig tree is. And when you realize that, you go from saying, I know God can do it, I'm just wondering if he will, to saying, okay, I know God can do it, I know God will do it, but when we gonna make this happen? How much longer? Have we not done enough, waited long enough, pursued and pressed and pushed forward long enough? When? I remember I got to a point with everything and I started thinking to myself, you know, God, at this point, I don't care what you do. Can you just do something? So God did something. God said, okay, bet. Here's what you can do. I want you to go to the book of Genesis and I want you to study up on Joseph. I want you to read his story. I want you to get fully acquainted with who Joseph was and what Joseph went through and how I blessed Joseph in spite of all he went through. I want you to read up. Story of Joseph, if I'm not mistaken, goes from Genesis chapter 37 to Genesis chapter 52, 54, something like that. And it goes as such. I'm, again, paraphrasing. Go back, read it for yourself. So Joseph is the youngest of 11 boys, and he is his father Jacob's favorite son. It's not a secret. It's not hidden. His brothers know it very well, and so does Joseph. But unfortunately, his brothers resent him, and they resent him greatly. There comes a point where Joseph learns that he has this gift, or better yet, Joseph is aware that he has this gift where he can decipher dreams. Joseph receives 2 dreams, both of which depict him as being the head of his family at some point in the future. He doesn't know when, he just knows at some point he is going to be positioned above his family. The first dream that he has, he tells his brothers about, and they were not fans of his dream. The second dream he has, he tells his brothers and his father about. And his father said, hey man, you need to chill on all that. You don't need to be telling people that. Later on, Joseph's brothers are out doing work somewhere away from the home. And Jacob says, Joseph, go get your brothers and have them come home. So Joseph does as his father asked. He goes, he finds his brothers, he said to tell them, hey, it's time to come back to the house. As he's walking up, one of his brothers sees him, and that resentment that they've been holding on for so long has finally come to a head. And they say, you know what? I had enough of this dude. Like, real talk, I'm done with bro. Let's get him out of here. So they plot to kill Joseph. They're ready to take him out, put him on a t-shirt. Except for one brother. His brother Reuben. His brother Reuben was like, yo, why should we get our hands dirty? Why we gotta do all that? Man, let's just put him in the little pit right here and we'll go on about our way. We'll let nature run its course. Now, what the brothers didn't understand was Reuben's plan all along was to come back and retrieve Joseph and bring him back home so he didn't actually die. Because Reuben knew if something happened to Joseph, they daddy ain't about to take it well. But for whatever reason, after Reuben has this conversation with his brothers and his brothers agree, Reuben leaves. Reuben just take off, go somewhere. So the brothers just throw Joseph in the pit. And as they're dealing with that, they see a caravan coming towards them. And one of the brothers is like, hey man, you know, real talk, we ain't even gotta let him die. Let's just sell that dude into slavery, man. Then we ain't never gotta worry about him. The caravan gets close, and that's what they did. Sold that man into slavery. Joseph ends up enslaved in the house of a man named Potiphar. And the thing about Potiphar grew to trust Joseph in such a way that Joseph had pretty much freedom within the house. He was free to do and move in the house as how he pleased. There was only one thing that he was denied, and that was Potiphar's wife. Rightfully so, right? That just makes sense. Well, Potiphar's wife, she kind of had an eye on Joseph. She was feeling bro. And so one moment, she tries to make a pass at him. She tried to get him to have his way with her. And he like, oh, whoa, what you doing? I can't do that with you. You not mine, you his. I can't do that with you. She didn't appreciate that. She ain't like being rejected. How dare you? Who you think you are? So she plotted on him. Potiphar come home after this all happens, and she switched the story, telling Potiphar, hey, your slave tried to have his way with me. You need to do something about this. Potiphar's enraged. She like, he did what? After all the grace I've shown him, he did what? Man, throw that man into prison. Get him out of my house. Lock him up. Joseph in the prison now, locked up. And once again, Joseph ascends to such a level that even within this prison, he's viewed in a high regard. While he's in the prison, the Pharaoh has thrown 2 of his servants in there with him, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. They start having these dreams that they can't make no sense of, and they're like, yo, like, we don't know what's going on with these dreams. We ain't understanding them. And Joseph just happens to overhear them. He says, well, why don't you tell me your dreams? The cupbearer tells his dream, the baker tells his dream, and Joseph basically tells him what the dreams mean. He tell the cupbearer, hey man, you about to be free, man. You about to go right back to the palace. You gonna be straight. Everything gonna be cool. But you, on the other hand, to the baker, bro, you out of here. You out of here. They about to do you bad, boy. They about to slime you out. Just as Joseph depicted, the chief baker, out of there. The cupbearer ends up getting freed and returned home to the palace. As he's getting ready to leave, Joseph says, hey man, don't forget about me. Talk to basically like, yo, talk to the Pharaoh, see if he'll spring me out of here. Cupbearer goes to the palace, never mentions Joseph's name except for another 2 years, when the Pharaoh is now starting to have these dreams that he can't make no sense of. He calling on all the wise men, all the magicians and wizards and all this and all that. Can't nobody tell him what this dream means. That's when the cupbearer remember, Joseph helped me. Maybe he can help the Pharaoh. He put the Pharaoh on game. He like, hey bro, listen, it's this dude named Joseph down in the prison. I met him while you had me down there. He deciphered my dream and the chief baker's dream perfectly. I bet you he could tell you yours. Pharaoh said, man, get him up here. Bring him out. Come on, I need to talk to bro. Joseph gets brought to the palace and meets the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh tells him his dream, and Joseph says, well, this is what the dream mean, bro. You're going to have 7 years of abundance and 7 years of famine. But this is how we can circumvent all that. You could do this and you could do that. You can move this way and make this happen that way. Watch. Ain't nobody going to starve. Ain't nobody going to lack. Ain't nobody going to go without. So after Joseph deciphers the dream, Pharaoh like, hey, bro, I'm liking what I'm hearing. I like your plan. Check this out. Get this man out. Get this man in some finer clothes. Get this man set up in the palace. He now answers to me and no one else. Joseph in that moment is named second in command in all of Egypt. Kind of goes back to that dream where he was shown that he would be propositioned above his brothers, above his family. Later on, the famine happens. And his brothers come to the palace because the famine has hit their land. And as they're groveling at his feet, hoping that he will be merciful upon them, they don't realize that this is their brother that they sold into slavery 17 years ago. Of course not. It's been nearly 2 decades. He's a grown man now. He looks completely different. Not only does he look completely different, he carries himself completely different because of the things that he's been through. After a couple of things going back and forth, Joseph finally reveals the fact that it's him. I am your brother that you sold into slavery 17 years ago. In this land, I'm known as something different, but I am your brother, Joseph. After he reveals himself, his brothers are begging for his mercy, begging for his forgiveness. And Joseph said, hey, stop all that. What you meant to harm me, God used for good. And the story of Joseph gave me 4 key points. 4. The first one is this. Sometimes the blessing is not ready. Sometimes you're not ready for the blessing. You are not prepared to hold this thing that God says he has for you, because God knows if I give it to you now, you will drop it. You will break it. You will destroy it. Or worse, it will destroy you. Think about it like this. Would you give a newly licensed child a Hellcat to drive? Nah. My kids don't know it yet, but at best they get in the 97 Honda Civic. At best they get in the 97 Honda Civic. Why? Because it's easy to work on. The motors don't die, and it's a simple, reliable, safe car. Think about it like this. I'm gonna use a weightlifting analogy. I don't know if y'all can tell by these shoulders, but I be doing my thing. I be doing my thing. If you have never touched a single barbell, dumbbell, plate in the gym, and you decided that you wanted to come work out with me, I'm not putting you at the weights that I do. I'm not going to put 500 pounds on the squat bar. I'm not going to put 500 pounds on the deadlift. I'm not going to put 315 pounds on the bench press and tell you, all right, move it. Why? Because you're not strong enough to do the weights that I'm strong enough to do. You haven't gone through the work to get to this point. So I might start you with the bar, maybe a plate. Because I know that this is a weight that not only is it safe for you to hold, but if something happens to you, it's not so heavy of a burden that I can't get it off of you before it does any harm. Joseph was not ready to be put in a position of power because Joseph was arrogant. Joseph was prideful. And how could he not be when he's lived his whole life viewed as the perfect child? In the eyes of his father, he could do no wrong. Joseph had to be humbled. The second thing that reading up on Joseph gave me was, sometimes the blessing isn't ready for you. You have become what you need to become in order to hold this thing, but I'm not done crafting it for you to hold. Or better yet, I'm not done setting up the stage for which I want you to stand upon while you hold it. Because think about this. Joseph meets the chief cupbearer. Joseph determines the chief cupbearer's dream. The dream comes true just as he said it would. He tells the chief cupbearer not to forget him, and 2 years go by before he ever mentions Joseph's name again. Think about it like this though. The whole reason the cupbearer and the baker were even in prison was because the Pharaoh felt disrespected by them. So you just got out of prison, and you got the audacity, you just got out of prison, you just got back in my good graces, and you have the audacity to ask me to do you a favor? Are you crazy? Put him back in there, let him think about what he's done. Put him back in there. Matter of fact, take care of him and put him next to the baker. How dare you come out of prison after I decided to put you back in my good graces, and you asking me for favors? The favor was me letting you out. Speculation. I don't know that's what would have happened. Because what could have happened is this. The Pharaoh could have heard what the chief cupbearer said and said, yeah, go ahead, let him out. I don't care, whatever. Let him out. And let's say that's what happens. Let's say Joseph gets released from prison prematurely. Then what? What's he going to do now? Most likely go back home, go back to his land. But if he had done that, 3 things would have went wrong. Number 1, the Pharaoh wouldn't have had him there to decipher his dreams. Therefore, the famine would have came as it was going to, and no one would have known of it because Joseph wouldn't have learned of these dreams. Joseph wouldn't have crafted a plan that would have protected not just Egypt, but all the outlying lands that were going to come to Egypt for assistance. And because Joseph doesn't hear this dream and decipher this dream, Joseph's dreams themselves don't come true because he was not in the proper place on the proper stage that God was setting up. The third thing ties right into the second. Sometimes the things that God is blessing us with are bigger than us. It's bigger than us. If Joseph had not been humbled, and if Joseph would have escaped the trials and tribulations that shaped him into the man that he needed to be to take the position that he was called to be in, everyone else suffers. Without everything that Joseph went through, this famine hits harder than it would have had he not gone through what he went through. Joseph was the key. Without Joseph, the famine ravishes the nations. Without Joseph in position, everything goes wrong. And countless people suffer. Countless people die. Countless people lose everything because one man wasn't in place. This is why God is holding you in that season that you're in right now. Either you're not ready, it's not ready for you, or God is waiting on you to get in position to serve those that you were called to. But the fourth and final thing that I realized in reading up on Joseph is that sometimes the same people that hurt you, that pushed you to the side, that treated you like you weren't worthy of their energy, time, love, what have you, those same people are the very ones that God is going to use you to bless. Did Joseph's brothers deserve his forgiveness? Probably not. You could argue that they didn't, but they still received it. And I could argue that they became better men because of it. The thing is, and if you read the story of Joseph, you'll know this. Jacob was distraught the entire time that Joseph was gone. He was never the same. He actually ended up having another child named Benjamin by Joseph's mother, trying to replace and heal that wound that Joseph left. And what's funny is this brother, they took care of. They made explicitly sure that no harm came to him because they saw what the loss of Joseph did to their father. Sometimes the harm, the hurt, the pain, the anguish that you are going through is being used to teach somebody else. Hard to believe, but it's true. Again, go back, read the story of Joseph. It's laid out. It's right there. It's right there. So I say all that to say this. I understand that waiting can feel very heavy, very burdensome. It can feel like you have the pressures of the world on your shoulders and you're just waiting for relief. But there is a purpose behind it all. There is a growing in you. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it been laid on the heart of man the things that God has in store for you. You have no idea what God is about to use you for. Please understand me that I get it. I have been in my season for 2 years and counting. And every day, and for the longest time, I sat back and I thought to myself, God, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. I'm over it. I quit. It's days where I said to myself, I wish I never picked up that call when God dialed my line. But I had to realize something. Just like when Pastor Johnson called me and the blessing that came from answering that phone call was my home. I answered a phone call that I didn't want to answer and I was blessed because of it. What's to say that because I answered the call when God called me a second time that a blessing is not coming on the other end of this? If I did it then, why wouldn't I do it now? We have to learn to stop looking at our situation through our eyes and start looking at it through our spirit. We have to learn to accept what God has said and stand planted on the word of God, not planted on our feelings, not planted on our emotions, not planted on things that are foundationally on loose sand instead of concrete. Sand shifts. Sand moves. Sand is not stable. Just like your feelings, just like your emotions, just like many of the thoughts that you are having. But concrete is rigid. Concrete holds its place. Just like God's word. I understand you're tired of waiting. I understand you've grown impatient. I understand you've gotten to a point where you're like, God, can you just do something? But the place that you have to get to is this. I know that God can do it. I know that God will do it. But even if he does it, he's done more than I could have ever asked for. It's in the place where you stop caring about the outcome that you receive the outcome that you wanted all along. Yeah. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. When you stop tripping over what's happening or not happening, when you just trust in God and say, God, I see that, but I know you got something up your sleeve, so I ain't even tripping. I ain't worried. When you get into that mentality, into that mind state, that's when God does it. Because it's in that mentality, it's in that mind state that says, God, I have enough faith to know that no matter what's happening around me, you are a God of impossibilities. You are a God who makes a way out of no way. You are a God who can shift the atmosphere because you said so. I know what I see. I know what's going on around me. I know what people are saying to me, but I know you as well. I know you. And you told me that I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to be okay. That's where we have to get to. That's the place. With that being said, man, I thank you for tuning in. I hope that you took something from everything that was said in this episode. And I love you. But God loves you more, and I hope God blesses you. Take care.